Hi and welcome to our latest YouTube tutorial where we're going to transform our studio and share our top tips for wallpapering and painting. So a quick overview of what you'll need. The key focus here is the Luxury Wood Panel Wallpaper in Dusky Pink, and our wall colour is a vinyl matte tinted to a shade called Dust Bunny. In amongst that you've got your rollers, trays, brushes and all of your key wallpapering tools like tape measures, plumb bobs and knives. Okay, so let's start with painting. It's always the key step when decorating a room to start first with your painting. So lift the lid on your paint, give it a good stir and pour it out into your roller tray, and let's get started. We've run the cover mask along our skirting boards, which has masking tape on one edge and folds out to a big dust sheet to protect our floor, and then I always like to start with the cutting in first. Next up, grab your roller and fill in the inside of the square that you've created with your cutting in. I would do this one wall at a time if you're doing multiple walls, because otherwise the cutting in around the edge gets too dry before you've started your roller in and you can get a picture frame effect. So it's a 4-hour recoat time on the vinyl mat before we give a second coat, and then finally once that was touch dry we peeled away our cover mask tape, which as you can see has left a lovely crisp line. Okay, so next we're going to get into the wallpapering, and my first step, I always like to take the roll, count along the wall and reassess how many strips I'm going to be hanging. Okay, so next up I find the centre point of my wall. Make sure, based on knowing how those lengths are going to hang because I've counted along the strips, that with this panel paper it's going to make sense. Luckily, the way I had it measured out, we were going to end up with a full panel at each end of the wall, and then a plumb bob was finally used to help me get a straight point from top to bottom. The Luxury Wood Panel is luckily a paste the wall wallpaper, so this bit is really nice and easy. You paste not too much further than the width of the roll of wallpaper so that it doesn't get too dry in between. So you just bring your roll up to the wall, level it in place, and I have the plumb bob now at the right hand side of the paper so that I had a straight edge to follow and line it up to. I then like to do a rough cut so that the length is a lot shorter, and then I smooth it all into place before I do a proper cut. Once you're happy with the position of your paper and you have it all smoothed into place with your paper whiz tool, it's then getting a nice sharp edge against your skirting board to cut against with your blade. Surface up the wallpaper, a quick wipe over with a damp cloth to remove any paste residue before it dries. Apply your next set of paste and then take your roll back up to the wall and get it lined up as per the pattern match on the roll. This was a straight match wallpaper. Use your paper with smoother to help smooth the edges together to join the two wallpapers without causing any damage. You can also use your paper smoother to pull away from the join once you're happy with it to remove any air bubbles from the surface. Edges are so important, so make sure you've got sufficient paste and don't be afraid to add a little extra. Now it's time to just keep repeating that same process as you cover the full wall in the wallpaper. I'll point out now that as you can see with the panelled wallpaper, it's important to decide where the panel is going to cut off. We opted to not have a full panel at the bottom but have a full panel at the top because that's eye height, and we could hide the cut down panel at the bottom with our sofa and other furniture. While that's all happening, I'll just point out this was Sam's first time using paste the wall wallpaper and he absolutely smashed it. He did comment how easy it was going from paste the wall over paste the paper. Edges can be really difficult, so it's important to get a good crease and cut a little corner at the bottom before cutting the full length. As you can see, it's a gorgeous finished room. We're so pleased with it. For more hints and tips and inspiration, subscribe here.